Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help. And King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore.
All of our guests today, Tuesday, sponsored by Skipper Auto. Ray Ferraro coming up next, supporting Canadian fishing families through a revolutionary seafood buying experience. Check them out online at skipperauto.com. Our title sponsors, we thank them, Able Auctions and King of Floors. What a pleasure this is as Ray Ferraro, a longtime friend of ours from the previous incarnation of the show, joins us for the first time on Donnie and Dolly. How are you, Ray?
I'm well. How are you guys doing? Great to be on with you guys.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Great to have you back.
Thank you.
Canucks lose to the Oilers 5-3. And McDavid with the 4 points last night. Ray, in what areas has he improved, if anything?
Well, I would say that there's an attack to him that has always kind of been there. You know, like he's always been an offensive attacker, almost like a predator, right? Like he sees a lane or he sees an opening and he's always drives himself into the lane. He pushes the pace. He pushes the game faster than other people can go. I think he's just taken it to the next step. Like his strength, his ability to push people out of the way. He's always the fastest guy in the game. I think he shoots the puck better. We're talking incremental growth, though, right? Like he's already the best guy around. And it's like, I don't know if you guys watch it the same way, but when he's playing and he doesn't have any points through a period or a period and a half, I'm watching expecting that it's coming soon. That, he's going to score. I know he is. He's going to get a point. I know he is. Like last night, I'm watching the tail end of the game. And I said to Reese, our 11-year-old, I said, you watch, McDavid's going to get the empty netter. Those are the things I feel about him this year that maybe I didn't think of so much in the past. He's scoring at 1985 pace here.
Yeah.
It's crazy to watch. He's treating the league like a bantam league. It's amazing, to do what he's doing.
Are the Oilers constructed well, Ray, when it comes to the playoffs? Are they a team that can make a run?
Better, but not. There's some pretty obvious holes in their lineup. But when you look at them, clearly they're always going to be top heavy because they got two of the best scorers in the game. But I worry a little bit about their depth of scoring as they creep down the lineup. You know who's been a real nice addition for him is Ryan McLeod. Mm-hmm. He actually, even just a few games into his career, he looks like an NHL player. Like he's strong. He's just got, I don't know, I'm trying to think of when you see a young guy come in and you go, yeah, he's an NHL player. Well, he's not going to be a guy sitting on the sidelines when the playoffs start. He's part of what they're doing. Dave Tippett's a terrific coach, and I think that those guys there, that young core, which is now a little bit older, they understand that winning 2-1 is just as good as winning 4-2. Doesn't matter. 2-1's fine. They check better. I think they're a harder team than they've been in the past. And I don't know about you guys either, but I didn't have Mike Smith playing like this.
Yeah.
He's been amazing this year for them.
Hey Ray, the Canucks are, I know they're mathematically still alive, but they're playing out the string. What's your worst memory of playing on a team that was playing out the string, and how difficult is that situation?
Well, it's worse when you're older than when you're younger.
Of course.
When you're younger, this is one theory I will say I do not buy in when they say, oh, here's a team that's out of the playoffs. Their players got nothing to play for. They play loose and carefree. If you're a young player, you feel the pressure because this might be your best and only chance to impress at the NHL level. The pressure's there. For the older guys, they can't wait to get out of there. They're like, man, we're out. The games are like a 20-pound vest, that you got to wear. It's like they're damn, we got another game. You just want them over. As far as the worst year, I would say it would have been probably my first year in LA. I got traded there from the Rangers, and there was 2 months left. And from the time I got there was no playoff race. And even though it was kind of exciting to be in a new place and it was LA, it sucked. Like you just play. Like there's no point to it. You're not even really like. I had 3 years left on my contract. They weren't evaluating me. There was a point in the game, this one game, Kevin Stevens is sitting on the bench, a couple of players away from me, and Kevin's got this great big booming voice, and so they got 5 guys on the ice on our power play that just got called up from the American League, right? So you barely know their names. I mean, I certainly didn't. I just got there. And Kevin says to me loud enough that everybody can hear, he's like, Razor, you getting a load of this power play? And I said, yeah, I see it, Artie. He goes, no, you getting a load of this. And I was dying laughing because, we're like, this is who they're evaluating. They're not evaluating us. We're just trying to play the games to get to the end of the year so we can go home.
Ray, no playoffs this year for the Canucks. What's the plan? How do they get out of this mess? Do you see any vision of how they can get out of this?
Yeah, stop spending money on July 1st. That would be the first one. Accumulate draft picks. I know people don't want to hear this, but they don't have enough prospects. Our late friend Botch, of course, talked about building an army. Mm-hmm. And they don't have enough prospects that you look at and go, that is an NHL player. I know people are excited about Podkolzin, and they should be. He's an NHL player. And he's going to come here, and that's one guy. Did you see that stat last night? The Canucks' regular bottom 6 makes more money than Connor McDavid, and McDavid has 3 times more points.
Oh, my gosh. Crazy. Just crazy.
So you ask about the plan, Dolly. It's to, in my opinion, it's to get younger, faster, more skilled. But you can't do that overnight. What they can't do is spend themselves into more trouble like they're already in. The players they've signed, they don't get any bang for buck from. I'm talking about the Beagles and the Roussells. Those are $3 million players. You can't have 4 goals combined from them. That just can't be. Get your defense, work on the defense to be young and mobile, and sign Travis Green.
I was going to bring up Green next to you. What's happening to him, Ray? I'm a bit surprised they're doing this to this guy. What are your thoughts on him hanging in the wind? I mean, that's all he is. I mean, he could be potentially out of this city in a few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake, in my opinion. I don't know this, but my assumption is this comes from above Jim Benning, that this is an ownership decision to wait and see and make that decision at the end of the year what they're going to do. Where are you finding a better coach? Look at this roster over the last couple of years, and can you say this team hasn't improved or that this team's younger players haven't always competed? I think they outkick their coverage all the time. Last night, guys, and a game against Toronto previously, I was really impressed. They just don't have enough players to play a full game against these teams. I'm impressed with how hard they work, how they don't look disorganized. How could they not be disorganized given the chaos of the COVID spot to their season? To me, and I always say this, I always preface this. Look, I'm biased. I've known Travis a long time. I think he's a very, very good NHL coach. And if he's not employed here, he won't be unemployed very long.
Talking with Ray Ferraro. Ray, I want to get your opinion on the $5,000 fine that Tom Wilson was slapped with today for what he was up to against the Rangers last night.
Okay, this is what I have always thought. It's not new. It's not new to the situation with Tom Wilson. Is if Artemi Panarin's head hits the ice, is it a $5,000 fine? The answer is no. It's not, because we have something that potentially is catastrophic. Why should that matter? Why should that be the determining factor to a 15-game suspension or an indefinite suspension and a $5,000 fine? I think the $5,000 is ludicrous. First of all, when he gets Buchnevich on the ice, and he's pounding his head into the ice, like, how is that a $5,000 fine? Let alone what happened with Panarin after.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you're allowed to be bigger and stronger than everybody else, because he is. Now, back in the day, Donnie, of course, the next shift for Nick Backstrom would have been hell.
Yeah.
But the game's not like that anymore. So if the league doesn't police it, how is it ever going to be policed?
Yeah, well, that's just a huge issue. And you're right about Panarin didn't have the helmet on. It had been taken off, and then his knees too, or his ankles. He could have been crushed as well.
By the way, if, like, I would assume, Tom Wilson's got Panarin as he's grabbed him there. Mm-hmm. He knows who it is.
Yeah.
And he also if he doesn't know it's Panarin, he also knows that's a 170-pound guy.
Yeah.
So is it, like, we need to look at, this is a superstar of the game, Artemi Panarin. But he doesn't deserve more protection than everybody else. The problem is nobody gets any protection. What if that's Connor McDavid? What if it's Austin Matthews? What if it's David Pasternak?
Mm.
Like, are we kidding? Like, are we not protecting all of the players? So we're not. So how about protect the best players?
Hey,
let's start there.
Ray, the 1983-84 Brandon Wheat Kings, which you know very well, had 7 guys over 100 minutes in penalties. One guy
I didn't have to worry about too much.
Yes, that's my point. And Brian Wells led the way with 259 penalty minutes.
By the way, Brian Wells, as you're looking that up, 5'7".
What?
About 175 pounds at the time. He was left-handed. His older brother Brad was on the team. When the Wells boys started running around, it was not going to finish very well. And by the way, check out our goalie that year.
Hold on a sec. Ron Hextall.
How many penalty minutes?
Just hold on a sec. Oh, they didn't have penalty minutes for goalies back then.
Yeah. Oh, he had over 100.
What?
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
Oh, my.
But he had the 427 goals against, which would have been more normal back then. But
he had an unbelievable year. Did we give up 4 goals a game? What the hell's the difference? We scored 5.
Yeah. Oh, you guys had look how many guys over 100. 5 guys over 98 points.
So
our power play, our quarterback on the power play was a guy named Cam Plant, who was drafted by the Leafs. His son Alex was drafted in the first round by the Oilers, and his other son Tyler was a Florida Panthers draft pick. Cam had 118 assists that year.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there it is right there.
Okay, we'll mention it, Ray. You had 108 goals that year.
If you weren't good, I was going to get around.
No, I didn't want to put you in that position, but 108
By the way, it's nice
goals.
to hear Ryan giggle in the back there. I miss that giggle.
Oh, the giggle's always there. 192 points that year for Ferraro.
Yeah, it was a good year. Things went pretty well.
See, you got to come back on this show more often to get these kind of stats thrown out there.
Pumping your tires here, big time.
Yeah, see, I like it. It's okay. And by the way, so on our podcast, the Ray and Dregs podcast, we had Jerry D on.
Yes.
And so Jerry D is talking about, I don't know how he got into goals and all this stuff. And he said, I looked you up. You had 108 goals. I said, yeah. He goes, now, and Mario Lemieux had like more than that. And I said, yeah, he had 133. He goes, well, you turned pro, and let's be honest, you're no Mario. Oh, I was cracking up. He was a funny guest. He has got some great stories in there.
108's not bad. Ray, thanks for this. We'll do it again soon.
We will, and all the best, guys. I'm glad to see you guys are doing this. It sounds great, and please call back.
We will. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
Take care, boys. Be well.